What's going on, guys? Hope everybody's having a great day. We got another Hydra banger, guys, and hopefully you have this champ, and hopefully you're not using it already, so I can show you just how great she is, and maybe you could run a similar comp or even better one and just slot her in there. But we're gonna be talking about a champ that I just don't see much at all. Wait. Before we do that, I gotta just say thank you to you guys because we just hit 7,000 subscribers, and we are almost to that 8K. It's been a long time coming. We've been on this YouTube journey for like 2-3 years now. We're almost to 8K, guys, and then we will be in the tier 3 of content creation for Raid Shadow Legends. So huge thank you to you guys. You guys are amazing. But let's talk about this champion who I don't see that much. Gwendolyn the Silent. I remember when she first came out and we were looking at the kit and it just looked amazing. But I think like they also brought out like what Supreme Gaelic around that time, a few other champs around that time where it was just like, I don't know, maybe people just aren't using her. But I needed this champ today. I absolutely needed this champ because I moved some champs from my hard team up into my brutal team, and I had to rebuild a hard team, and it isn't what I wanted to be at this moment, but it was a very safe team. Went to turn count, we got some decent damage up, and that's all I could ask for today. While I am sick, I'm not feeling that well. I just needed to get something together that was going to be reliable. But let's talk about this champion, and then we'll talk about the gear. We'll talk about blessings, masteries, all that jazz. So her A1 is a 3-hitter, which has a 30% chance of extending the duration of all debuffs by 1 turn, and that is per hit. So she could extend duration 3 times by using this A1. You can obviously book the chance up to 50%, which is tremendous because in Hydra we want to keep our debuffs up, especially if you're not running a Shamel, you're not running Veil, anything like that, where your debuffs could have a chance to drop off if you're getting feared on certain abilities. This isn't bad to have as an A1 option, so you can increase the duration of those debuffs. You don't have to worry about your CC champs coming back around to their skills that much. I'm not saying it's not important, but it takes a little bit of the edge off when you get true feared. Now, the A2 is an AoE, 75% chance of placing a decreased speed and a leech. Also places a 50% decreased accuracy on all enemies under 2 or more debuffs for 2 turns. So she's going to place these 2, and if they both land, she's definitely going to place this 3rd one. Oh, another note about the A1 and extending the duration of the debuffs. This is also good to use in comps where you have a DPS champion that deals damage based on like the amount of debuffs on the boss. So someone like a Teox who gets a boost from having extra debuffs on the boss, anyone like that. I'm sure there's like maybe 2 or so more champs at least that deal more damage based on the amount of debuffs. Solid to run with Gwendolyn. But this decreased speed, this leech, huge. Takes off a little bit of the worry of you having a reviver or not in your comp. It takes a little bit of the worry off if you don't have as much heals, because you can guarantee get some heals every time that you do damage. And if you have War Master on your CC champs, your support champs, which at the higher end most people will, you're going to be able to get a decent heal off of that. But if you guys have been watching any of my Hydra videos, I preach decreased speed, increased speed, and turn meter boost. We're going to have a lot of that in this comp. A3 attacks all enemies before attacking, places a 50% increased accuracy on all allies for 2 turns, so you get accuracy up. That means you can build your champions with significantly less accuracy because you will get this debuff and she will get you to that number that you need to have to land your debuffs. Also has a chance of stealing block debuffs from all enemies. If at least one is stolen, places block debuffs on all allies for 1 turn. We don't really need this second part. Personally, I don't like using block debuffs in Hydra. Because once it gets stolen, it just starts this like chain of I need to steal it back, or I need to get it off of you. Now I can't debuff because the mischief head is spreaded. Like, it just gets really messy. So I don't personally like to use block debuffs, but we actually do have it in this comp. But we won't really get it stolen much because we're taking a lot of turns in this comp. We have everything we need to get all the turns in that we need to cycle through our skills, to take a lot of turns before the boss takes turns. And on the passive, this champion's crit damage is increased by 1% for every 10 points of accuracy they have. So if you build her with a ton of accuracy, you're going to get a lot of crit damage. Makes it easier to just crit cap her, get her decent speed, get her decent accuracy, and you can get crit damage from her passive ability, which is huge. Now, I didn't build her with this in mind. This was just a quick build that I threw together because I needed to get this Hydra run done, because I have more Hydra runs to do on other accounts, so I needed to get this one done. So ideally, this build would be a lot better, but right now we have her in Relentless. Relentless definitely not the way to go, because she's going to be taking an excessive amount of turns. I don't know, there's something up with the coding or what. You guys are going to see it once we start doing the run. Like, she's taking way too many turns, like more than I've seen any champ take that I've used in Relentless and Hydra. And I run champs in Relentless very consistently. I've never seen this. You guys are going to see it if you watch the full amount of this video. But we've got her in Relentless. She has decent speed. She also has some pinpoint on to help us get our speed up, get our accuracy up. Not much accuracy, so we're not getting a ton of extra crit damage. She's not even crit capped anyway, so she's not going to do a ton of damage. This is not a good build by far. This is a terrible build. This was me hitting filter like so, prioritizing the stat of speed, removing the set filters, and then just going through everything and trying to get a decently fast build on her. This is a terrible build, guys. Please do not build her like this. Try to give her a little bit of crit rate. Try to at least crit cap her. You can put a crit rate glove on her. If you build with a good amount of accuracy, you will get a solid amount of crit damage from her passive ability. So don't judge my build, guys. The build sucks. The build sucks. But Relentless, it didn't work out. So I would elect to take something like Cursed. Would be a much better set to probably take on her, unless you're running, someone else in Cursed. I was running a Lydia in Cursed for this comp. You could also take something like a Provoke set if you're not bringing a Provoker in. She has, a triple hit A1. That's a solid chance to land a Provoke. She also has 2 AoEs, so she's going to be able to land Provoke for you. As far as other sets, you could elect to go Reflex if you want to cycle back around to that decreased speed faster. Reflex or first 4-piece Merciless. Any of those sets would probably be a better choice than Relentless, because the Relentless is just pushing our turn count up and we're not getting, damage for it. I didn't even level up her gear all of the way. I just took her into the run. All right. I told you guys I was rushing to get this done. She does not even have masteries on. The only reason I elected to use her was because I filtered here by decreased speed. I was like, I really need a decreased speed champ. And I was like, oh, I got Gwendolyn the Silent still. And she was actually booked. So I was like, oh my God, this is an easy pick, because we get the Leech too. And the Leech is going to help us for survivability. Now, I'm taking Cruelty as the blessing. We got 1 star on her, so that's going to help us out a bit with decreasing the defense in there. And like I said, no masteries. But I would go down the offense tree, probably into Giant Slayer, because she has that 3-hit A1. So take your standard DPS masteries down and get your Giant Slayer. And support masteries, we're going to probably go down into Master Hexer. Now, she doesn't actually need it because her A1 is going to be extending duration of debuffs anyway, but you can go down into Master Hexer and go this way. Pretty much pinpoint accuracy into charge focus into Swarm Smiter. Go ahead and get Lore of Steel, and then take your Master Hexer and take your standard DPS, Hydra masteries down here. Get your crit rate, get your crit damage. You can take Single Out. You might want to get Life Drinker here. Go this way, bring it down, come here, Kill Streak, cut across the Giant Slayer, and take, Cycle of Violence if you want, or Cycle of Magic. Either of those is fine. She doesn't really hit that hard to where Cycle of Violence will proc, but you never know. And Cycle of Violence can proc pretty easily for some champs on decapitated heads, so As long as you got decreased defense, weaken up. A lot of DPS can proc Cycle of Violence on decapitated heads, so not a bad option to go there, but go down into Giant Slayer. Those are going to be your masteries. So let's go ahead and take a look at the comp that we're running, and I actually am running it on hard, guys. So we already ran it. It's a hard team. I can't click because we don't have any more, but this is the comp here. So we're using pretty free to play DPS. We got Rathalos and we got Wukong providing damage for us. Cardio not free to play, but you can replace him with Mikage. You can replace him with any ally attack because we're going to be getting predominant heals from Gwendolyn the Silent, from her leech. Lydia is in there. Everybody can get Lydia. Seeker is in there for turn meter boost and increase attack for us as well. So this comp is actually pretty decent, and my head is covering up the damage at the moment, and you guys can enjoy this run. So here we are towards the tail end of a Hydra run, and I want to just highlight a few things before I fully talk about Gwendolyn, just so we can all be on the same page. This is not, any crazy damage or anything like that. It's decent, but there is some things to note here, right? So we are on boss turn count 164. Usually this would be a bit higher before we start to see the turn limit pop up, but this comp is actually taking so many turns because we have, Seeker who's getting extra turns. We have Gwendolyn and Relentless who is getting a ton of extra turns. This is pushing us closer to the turn limit faster, and the comp only has 2 actual DPS champions. So we have Rathalos and we have Wukong in there. And everybody else is kind of, Cardio's actually doing some damage for us. He's not fully built for damage, but he is providing some damage. He's like kind of semi DPS because I have him built for Fire Knight at the moment. So, if I maybe took out the Seeker, or maybe took out the Cardio for someone who could do a bit more damage, then yeah, our damage would be significantly higher. We would be getting a lot more damage per turn count, and this total damage would be higher, but it's still decent. We're gonna come out, if we make it to the turn limit, we should come out around like 600 million, which I can live with for now. But let's talk about Gwendolyn in here and what she is providing. So first off, on her A1, right, as we saw, she's going to be able to increase the duration of debuffs. She didn't get a proc there, but as you can see here, we've got these up to 5 turns on this head. So she's able to do that for us, which is pretty clutch if you're running someone who does damage based on debuffs. So like someone like a Teox whose A1 does increased damage. I'm sure there's like a couple other champions that do damage based on the amount of debuffs that are out. So her A1 is pretty solid for that, especially in Hydra, where you want to keep debuffs up as much as possible. Now her decreased speed and leech and decreased accuracy is very, very helpful, guys. If you've watched any of my other Hydra videos about upping your damage, you know the impact that decreased speed has. Leech allows you to get away with not having a reviver even more. We're pretty much getting the bulk of our heals from leech. Cardio is providing a little bit of heals for us and a little bit of a safety net with revival and death, but he's honestly not providing the same heals that Gwendolyn is providing. I'm gonna wait to use that one turn. Let's get decreased defense up. But she's providing a ton of heals for us. She can also provide increased accuracy as well, so just a bonus there. Her A3, I'm not sure that we get the full effect of it because we have block buffs so consistently that no one is gonna steal block debuffs from us. So we're not gonna get a block debuffs placed on us at all. Sorry, block debuffs. We're not gonna get block debuffs placed on us by her from her A3, but we do get the increased accuracy. This is actually ridiculous with how many extra turns she's getting. I've never seen a champion get this many extra turns. This is absolutely crazy. A Crisian Relentless gets nowhere near this amount of extra turns. I don't know what is going on. It's like almost every time she takes a turn, she's getting extra turns. Like every time. It's ridiculous. There's something in the coding. I don't know what it is. I've never seen a champion get this many extra turns, guys. It's literally driving our damage down. We're almost to turn count. We have 130, 129 turns left now. Oh man, this is it's actually it's great. It's great because yeah, she gets around to her skills, but I didn't build her for damage, so she's just running our turn count up right now. So here we are at the end. 4 turns left. 3 turns now because Gwendolyn's taking an extra turn. So it's not quite at 600 mil. It should be, but it's not. I wish I could see a breakdown of turns taken. And she did 26 mil, and she's not really built for any damage at all. But we get some solid damage across the board. Like I said before, this is hard. This is hard Hydra. It's my last key. I just need to run it. Just need to get it in. I need to make sure I get a screenshot of this as well so that I can keep for my record and make sure I have that. But decent damage. Lydia getting damage from Curse. Gwendolyn, we might build for some damage. I wish I had a higher blessing for her, but that's going to be all for this one, guys. Thank you for watching as always. Hopefully this video helps somebody out. I just needed to help one person out, but you guys have been awesome. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, guys. We just hit 7,000 subscribers, so thank you all for being awesome. Like the video, it helps me out a ton, and leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you are using this champion. I don't see her talked about as much just because I don't know. Maybe people don't have her. Maybe people don't find her that valuable. Possibly because she doesn't do a ton of damage, and she kind of, you know, is just providing you with, you know, the debuffs and increased duration. I don't know. I think that she's an amazing champion. I think the kit is great. They could buff her multipliers a bit, but everybody doesn't need to be OP. Every champ doesn't need to be god tier, guys, and they all can't be. Otherwise, the game just, it isn't as fun. You got to have this spectrum. But thank you guys as always, and until next time, be good and be well.